Alicia's with us, and we continue to track Ian.
That's right. Kelly Greene's been on top of everything, and we know this storm has actually ramped back up.
Yes, unfortunately, it's got back into the Atlantic, gaining more energy, more strength from the relatively warm waters of the Atlantic. And right now, still a Category 1. This was just updated at 5 p.m. from the National Hurricane Center, and it's still bringing in some very heavy rain bands into the coastlines of Georgia and into the northeastern portion of Florida at this hour. But it is pushing off to the northeast right now. However, that path is going to change. So here's a look at where it is expected to be early tomorrow morning. Still a Category 1, but likely ramping up to 80-mile-per-hour winds. Then it will make its way into the South Carolina coastline, likely by Friday afternoon around 2 p.m. Still 80-mile-per-hour winds, and then eventually start to fall apart as it runs into a lot more friction, dying down to a tropical depression and then just an area of low pressure. But taking a look at these future track winds, and you can see the very strong winds, the contours here as this low pressure system moves in, very tightly banded here with those 80-mile-per-hour winds moving just north of Savannah into that southeastern coastline of Carolina. So this is going to be another hit across the United States. We'll have more details and timing and the impacts coming up.
All right, Kelly, we'll get back to you shortly. We continue to track Ian tonight at 6 o'clock and seeing some heartbreaking and really some scary images of all the damage in Florida, including some of these images taken by Hoosiers.
We caught up with some that now live in Southwest Florida and took the brunt of Hurricane Ian's devastating winds. John Duran actually joins us. And John, we heard from them last night as Ian was making landfall. Are they okay?
They are okay, but it's a much different tone last night than when I talked to them tonight. It's one couple from Port Charlotte and another man living in Sarasota, both from Indy. But when we heard from them last, the height of the hurricane hadn't quite hit them yet. But tonight, they'll show you the aftermath and the damage Ian left behind. It was a night as ear-splitting as it was unforgettable.
So loud.
It got to the point you look outside, all you see is white.
Until the morning sun brought Hurricane Ian's destruction to light.
It's crazy that something so powerful literally is flattened all these beautiful vegetation and trees, and it's so wild. It's nothing I've ever seen.
Blake and Shalina Hunter moved to Port Charlotte from Indianapolis just 3 weeks ago.
I've got this big massive truck, and it wasn't making it through the water.
Their new home left unrecognizable.
It's so sad. You can just see people. They're sad, you know, but at the end of the day, they still smile and wave at you because we're all in it together.
A little nerve-wracking.
In nearby Sarasota, Indy native Miles Cook is still shaken.
It was a sight to see. It's something I've never experienced before.
By some close calls Wednesday night.
I got a pretty good-sized tree in the backyard down that missed the house probably by about 10 feet.
But Cook says he's one of the fortunate ones.
At the end of our street you can't even get down the end of the street. There's oak trees down. I think we got pretty lucky.
Now that the skies have cleared, it's time to pick up the pieces.
We've been seeing neighbors and stuff come together, and everybody's trying to get yards cleaned up, and that's until we can figure out what to do. That's kind of the next step.
Now the fun part starts, cleaning up everything.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be so much fun. It looks like a lot of work ahead for those three, but luckily everybody is okay.
All right, John, thanks so much. And this cleanup effort is just going to go on for a long time. And right now, there's help on the way because there's dozens of Hoosiers heading to Florida right now.
This morning, Indiana Task Force 1 sent another team to help. Lauren Kostick met up with them before they took off. Lauren, it's people from all over the country descending to Florida, but I mean, Indiana, we're proud that they're going as well.
Exactly, a lot of Hoosiers, and that team right now is on the road, and they will be meeting up with other members who are currently staged in Central Florida for potential flash flooding. And even though they don't have an exact assignment, they say they're ready to pitch in wherever needed.
Just yesterday, 48 members of Indiana's Task Force 1 headed down to Florida. And now today, 35 more members are getting ready to join them, upgrading their response to a Type 1 team with more than 80 people volunteering.
Because of the strength of the storm that came in yesterday from Hurricane Ian and the possible damage to the west coast of Florida, so they want to add additional people to all the teams that have been deployed from the FEMA USAR system.
And this morning, the team in Florida received their first orders to start moving toward the Tampa area as departments continue to assess the widespread damage.
And hopefully have assignments for them later in the day when the initial damage assessments come in from those cities that may have been heavily impacted by Hurricane Ian.
During the first trip down, the task force was able to transport all its equipment, including boats and ATVs. They also have 5 search dogs on the team, focused on flooded areas and collapsed buildings.
Storm surge normally gets pushed in pretty quick, but it doesn't leave as quick as it comes in.
As more damage is reported, Indiana crews are on standby, ready to jump in when needed.
Indiana's National Guard was also deployed this morning. A dozen soldiers and 3 flight crews loaded up on 2 Black Hawk helicopters. And their main focus is to move people and resources to hard-to-reach areas. So, Scott, a lot of Hoosier help on the way right now.
A lot of work for them to do, but so grateful that they are on the way. And remember, there are ways that you can help these storm victims. We'll link you to all the resources. Just go to WTHR's news app and also on WTHR.com.